Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today, we're going to be exploring the awesome world of neuroplasticity
Awesome.
with the help of John Arden's book, Rewire Your Brain. So get ready to unlock some serious brain power. I am so excited to jump into this one.
Yeah, this is a good one. For a long time,
Yeah,
we thought our brains were kind of fixed after a certain age.
right.
Like you couldn't teach an old dog new tricks, but
Yeah.
turns out that's not true at all.
No.
Our brains are constantly rewiring themselves throughout our lives based on our experiences.
So you're telling me like my brain is like this tangled web of wires
Right.
that can like reorganize themselves. How does that even work?
Well, imagine you're learning to play the piano.
Okay.
Every time you hit a key or practice a chord, tiny brain cells called neurons
Okay.
are firing and communicating with each other, forming connections.
So the more you practice, the stronger those connections get.
That's it. It's like carving a path through a forest.
Okay.
The more you walk it, the clearer and easier it becomes.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
So that's what they mean by cells that fire together, wire together.
Yes,
It's not just a saying. It's literally how our brains learn and adapt.
it is.
But doesn't that mean bad habits get wired in too?
Absolutely.
Oh.
But that's where the good news comes in.
Okay.
We can use this same principle of neuroplasticity to rewire those habits as well.
Interesting.
And Arden actually gives us a really practical framework for doing just that.
Lay it on me.
It's called FEED.
Let's-
Focus, effort, effortlessness, and determination.
All right, this feed system sounds interesting.
Yeah.
But how do we even start? Where do we even begin rewiring our brains?
Well, it all starts with focus. You have to consciously direct your attention to the thoughts, actions, or skills you want to develop.
So if I'm trying to be more mindful and stop checking my phone all the time,
Right.
I need to focus on staying present, like really focus on it.
Exactly. Notice that urge to reach for your phone
Yeah.
and consciously choose a different action instead.
So instead of like scrolling mindlessly,
Yeah,
I could take a few deep breaths or focus on what someone is saying to me.
absolutely.
Okay, but that sounds like it would take a lot of effort.
Well, that's the second part of the framework,
Okay,
effort.
got it.
It's about actively engaging in those new behaviors. Even when it feels challenging,
Yeah.
you're literally forging new pathways in your brain.
Wow.
And that takes conscious effort, especially at first.
Right. I can't imagine becoming like a concert pianist after a week of practice,
Right.
but I'm guessing it gets easier over time.
It does, with consistent effort.
Okay.
Those desired behaviors, they gradually become more automatic,
Mhm.
more effortless.
So that's the effortlessness stage.
Yes.
You're still putting in the work,
Yes.
but it's not as much of a struggle.
Exactly. It's like
Mm.
that piano piece you've practiced so much, it just flows.
I get it.
Yeah.
So we go from focused attention to consistent effort.
Yeah.
And eventually, the desired behavior becomes like second nature. But what about those moments when we slip up or like life throws us a curveball?
Well, that's where determination comes in.
Determination.
It's the key ingredient for lasting change. There will be distractions, setbacks,
Yeah,
those old habits trying to sneak back in.
totally.
Determination is about recommitting to the process, reminding yourself why this change is important,
Yeah.
and getting back on track.
Okay, so it's more like a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly.
There's no magic pill. It takes dedication.
It does. But remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about progress.
I like that. So every time we make a conscious choice to align our actions with our goals,
Yes.
we're actually strengthening those new pathways and literally rewiring our brains.
You got it.
So we've got the big picture of neuroplasticity
Yeah.
and this feed framework.
Yes.
But can you give me like a concrete example of how we can use this to manage stress?
Sure. Have you ever noticed how certain situations can trigger an almost instant wave of anxiety?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like a big deadline at work or rush hour traffic.
That's your amygdala,
Mm.
a tiny almond-shaped structure deep in your brain. It's like your personal alarm system.
So it's like our fight or flight button?
Yeah, it's designed to keep us safe from danger.
Okay.
But sometimes it overreacts, sending out false alarms that create unnecessary stress.
So it's like a smoke detector going off when you're just making toast.
Exactly.
So how do we like tame this overactive alarm system?
Well, thankfully, the prefrontal cortex, the more rational part of our brain,
Yeah.
can learn to regulate the amygdala's reactivity.
Okay.
It's like having a wise friend who can talk you down from a panic attack.
So it's not about eliminating anxiety altogether,
Right.
but learning to manage it.
Exactly.
I like that.
And one way to do that is through a technique called exposure therapy. It's kind of like facing your fears,
Ooh, that sounds scary.
but in a controlled and gradual way.
Okay, give me an example.
Let's say you're anxious about going to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Exposure therapy would involve breaking down that experience into smaller steps.
Okay.
You might start by just planning your grocery list,
Okay.
and then venturing out to the store during off-peak hours when it's less crowded.
So like baby steps.
Exactly.
Okay.
Eventually, you work your way up to a more comfortable routine.
So we're kind of desensitizing ourselves.
Precisely. And by consistently practicing this,
Okay.
those neural pathways associated with fear, they will weaken,
Okay.
while the pathways associated with calmness and confidence, they strengthen. It's like rewiring your brain's response to those situations.
So by understanding how our brains work, we can actually retrain our response to stress and anxiety. This is really empowering.
It is.
But we can also use these principles to boost our mood, right?
Absolutely.
To cultivate a more positive outlook.
Yes. Research has shown that when the left frontal lobe of our brain is more active,
Okay.
we experience more positive emotions, motivation, and resilience.
Feel it's like our brain's happiness center.
You could say that.
So how do we activate it? How do we activate our left frontal lobe more often?
Well, one way is called behavioral activation,
Behavioral activation.
and it involves engaging in activities that bring us joy and a sense of accomplishment,
Okay.
even when we don't feel like it.
So even if I'm feeling down, I should push myself to go for a walk
Yeah.
or listen to music,
Absolutely.
call a friend.
Yeah, it's like giving your left frontal lobe a jump start.
I see.
And remember, what you focus on, what you put effort into, strengthens those neural pathways.
Yeah, right.
So by choosing to engage in activities that bring you joy, you're literally rewiring your brain for happiness.
I never thought about it like that. But what about those negative thoughts that just pop up? Can we rewire those too?
Absolutely. There's a technique called cognitive restructuring
Okay.
that can help us change those negative thought patterns. It's like becoming a detective of your own mind.
Okay.
You notice those automatic negative thoughts
Right.
and you challenge their validity.
So instead of getting stuck in that loop of like, I'm not good enough,
Yeah.
or I always mess things up, I
Yeah.
can focus on my strengths,
Absolutely.
and the things I'm grateful for.
Yes. By consistently practicing cognitive restructuring, you can rewire your brain to be more optimistic and resilient. And that, in turn, can have a huge impact on your overall well-being. Remember, neuroplasticity is about harnessing the power of your brain to create the life you want.
Okay, so you're saying it's not just about managing stress. It's about actually rewiring our brains for happiness.
Exactly.
This is incredible. I'm starting to see my brain in a whole new light. You mentioned the importance of the left frontal lobe, but what about the right? Does that have a role to play in all of this?
Yeah, it's not that the right frontal lobe is bad or that we want to eliminate its activity.
Right.
It's more about finding a balance.
Okay.
The right frontal lobe tends to be more active when we're experiencing, negative emotions like sadness or fear, anxiety.
So it's like the left frontal lobe is the gas pedal for positive emotions, and the right frontal lobe is the brake.
Exactly. And just like driving a car, we need both to get where we're going safely.
That's a good analogy.
But if we're constantly slamming on the brakes, we'll never make any progress.
Makes sense. So it's about finding that balance.
Exactly.
We've covered a lot of ground already. We talked about neuroplasticity, the feed system, taming the amygdala, and even boosting our mood. What other exciting brain rewiring adventures await?
Well, next we can delve into how to upgrade your brain's storage system, memory. Get ready to unlock some serious memory power with mnemonics and other brain-boosting techniques.
Ooh, I could definitely use a boost in that department. Let's dive in. Okay, memory. I feel like that's something I could definitely use a boost in. Sometimes I walk into a room and completely forget why I'm there. Does that ever happen to you?
Oh yeah, all the time. Happens to the best of us, but
Okay, good.
here's the thing about memory. It's not just a static filing cabinet in your brain. Every time you form a new memory, your brain is actually changing. It's creating new connections between neurons, strengthening existing ones, sometimes even getting rid of old connections that aren't serving you anymore.
So it's like my brain is constantly reshaping itself.
It is. It's neuroplasticity in action.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It really is. And there are actually different types of memory.
Okay, like what?
Well, there's working memory, which is like your brain's mental scratch pad, It holds information for short periods while you're using it.
Ah, yeah. Working memory. That's the one that fails me when I'm trying to remember a phone number long enough to dial it.
Exactly. And then there's long-term memory.
Okay.
That's where information is stored for longer periods,
Forever.
sometimes even a lifetime.
Okay.
And long-term memory itself has different categories.
Like what?
There's declarative memory, which is for facts and events.
Okay.
Semantic memory is for language and knowledge.
Okay.
Episodic memory is for personal experiences. Emotional memory is for feelings associated with those experiences.
Right.
And procedural memory is for skills and habits.
Okay, that's a lot of different types of memory. So how can understanding all this actually help me remember things better?
It's all about strategy. Once you know how your memory works,
Yeah.
you can tailor your learning techniques for better results.
Makes sense.
For example, if you're trying to learn a new skill, like playing an instrument
Okay.
or speaking a new language,
Yeah.
practice is key because that strengthens procedural memory.
So it's not just about cramming information, it's about actually practicing and applying that knowledge.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But what about things I need to remember quickly, like for an exam?
The key there is attention.
Attention.
Attention is like the gateway to your memory bank.
Okay.
If you're not paying attention to something, it's unlikely to stick.
Oh, no. So like when I'm trying to multitask, I'm actually making it harder to remember things.
It's possible. But the good news is we can train our attention.
Okay, how?
Your prefrontal cortex.
Okay.
It's the part of your brain that's responsible for planning, decision-making,
Right.
and attention.
Okay.
It can be strengthened with practice.
So like building mental muscle.
Exactly. The more we exercise our prefrontal cortex,
Yeah.
the better our focus and attention become.
And that in turn will improve my memory.
Exactly.
Mm.
But let's face it, we can't be laser focused all the time.
No.
Are there any tricks or techniques we can use to make information more memorable?
Yeah, I'd love to hear about some.
Well, mnemonic devices are incredibly helpful tools for boosting memory recall.
Mnemonics.
They work by associating the information you want to remember with something more vivid or meaningful,
Okay, give me some examples.
So one popular mnemonic device is called the PEG system.
Okay.
It involves creating a pre-memorized list of pegs.
Pigs.
These could be numbers, rhymes, or even images,
Okay.
and then associating the items you want to remember with those pegs. Like, let's say you need to remember a grocery list.
Yeah.
Milk, eggs, bread, cheese.
Yeah. I always forget the cheese.
So you could associate each item with a number.
Okay.
1 is a bun, bread. 2 is a shoe,
Cheese.
because you might step in it.
Exactly. 3 is a tree. Milk. 4 is a door. Eggs.
Okay, I can see how that would work. You're connecting it to something more memorable.
Exactly. And the sillier or more vivid the connection, the better. Another great technique is the loci method,
Loci method.
also known as the memory palace technique.
Oh, a memory palace. That sounds kind of cool.
It's a really powerful technique that's been used for centuries.
Wow.
It involves associating items you want to remember with specific locations in a familiar place.
Like my house.
Exactly, like your house. So you might imagine placing each grocery item in a different room.
Okay.
Milk in the fridge, eggs on the counter, bread in the pantry, cheese on the dining table.
So when I need to remember the list,
Yeah.
I just take a mental walk through my house.
Exactly. It taps into our spatial memory, which is often very strong.
That's so clever. What about stories? Can storytelling help us remember things better? Absolutely. Stories are incredibly powerful mnemonic devices.
I feel like I can remember details from stories a lot easier than just straight facts.
Because they engage multiple parts of our brains, our emotions, our imagination. If you can weave the information you want to remember into a compelling story,
Okay.
it's much more likely to stick with you.
I like that. So instead of just trying to memorize dates and names for history, I could create a story about a character who lived through those events.
Exactly. Or you could even imagine yourself as that character experiencing those events firsthand.
That's really cool. Besides mnemonics, are there any other general tips for improving memory? Things I can do every day?
Yeah, one of the most important is sleep.
Sharp.
Sleep is crucial for memory consolidation. It's the process of transferring information from short-term memory to long-term memory.
So all those all-nighters I pulled in college, probably not the best idea.
Probably not. Sleep deprivation really impairs your ability to focus, concentrate, and form new memories.
Okay. What about exercise?
Exercise has been shown to increase BDNF. It's that miracle grow for your brain. It helps those neurons grow and connect.
So getting my heart pumping is good for my brain, too.
It is. And it doesn't have to be strenuous exercise. Even moderate activities, like brisk walking or swimming, can have a positive impact.
So it's a 2-for-1 deal.
Exactly.
What about memory loss as we age? Is there anything we can do to protect our brains from that?
That's a great question, and it's something we should all be thinking about. While some age-related decline is normal, There are things we can do to keep our brains sharp and resilient.
Okay, like what?
One of the best things is to challenge your brain regularly,
Okay.
learning new skills,
Right.
taking on mentally stimulating activities, even just breaking out of your routine, trying new things.
Just use it or lose it.
Exactly. The more you challenge your brain, the more you're strengthening those neural connections,
Yeah.
building what we call cognitive reserve.
Cognitive reserve.
And that can help protect you against age-related cognitive decline.
So things like learning a new language or
Exactly. Learning a new language.
Okay.
Taking up a musical instrument, starting a new hobby, even just solving puzzles and brain teasers.
I also think social connection is important. Does that play a role in cognitive health?
Absolutely. Social interaction is like a workout for your brain.
How so?
It involves communication, empathy, emotional regulation. It challenges your brain in so many ways.
Okay, so just like spending time with loved ones, joining a book club, or
Sense.
engaging in conversations can help keep our brains healthy.
It's like giving your brain a workout without even realizing it.
I like that. And it's never too late to start, right?
Never too late. Neuroplasticity is a lifelong process.
That gives me hope.
Good. So no matter your age, you can rewire your brain for the better.
This has been so insightful. What other fascinating aspects of our brains and well-being can be enhanced through neuroplasticity?
Well, next we're going to explore the amazing power of connection
Okay.
and its impact on brain health. Get ready to discover the world of social medicine.
Social medicine. That sounds interesting. I'm ready to learn more. Social medicine, huh? I gotta say, that's not what I think of when I think about brain health. Usually it's diet or exercise, maybe even like a crossword puzzle. What's the connection between our social lives and our brains?
Well, it might seem surprising, but our brains are actually wired for connection.
Really?
Yeah, we're social creatures by nature, and our brains, they actually thrive in social environments. Think about it. For most of human history, we lived in tribes and communities
Hmm.
relying on each other for survival.
Right.
Those
Yeah.
social bonds, they're deeply ingrained in our biology.
So our need to connect with others is actually essential for our brain health.
It is. There are several key brain regions that make up what we call the social brain.
Okay, like what?
Well, one is the orbital frontal cortex.
Orbital frontal cortex.
It plays a big role in emotional regulation, empathy, social decision-making,
So when I'm trying to understand someone else's perspective
right?
or navigate like a tricky social situation, that's my orbital frontal cortex hard at work.
You got it. Another key player is the cingulate cortex.
Okay.
It helps us process social cues and navigate complex social interactions. It's like our social GPS.
Oh, okay. What about those moments when we just instantly connect with someone? Like we can almost feel what they're feeling.
Well, we have these amazing things called mirror neurons.
Mirror neurons, I've heard of those.
They fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that same action.
Oh, wow. So like if I see someone smile,
Yes.
my mirror neurons light up as if I'm smiling myself.
Exactly. And that's thought to be the basis for empathy.
Wow.
It allows us to understand and share the emotions of others.
So just by interacting with others, we're stimulating and strengthening these important brain regions. It's like a social workout for our brains.
It is.
What about the benefits, like beyond just brain health? How does all of this affect our overall well-being?
Studies have shown that people with strong social connections tend to have lower blood pressure, stronger immune systems,
Wow.
and they even live longer.
Longer lives. Okay, I'm definitely paying attention now. But what about people who are more introverted or have difficulty forming social connections? Are they missing out?
Not at all. It's important to remember that social connection looks different for everyone.
Okay.
It's not about being the life of the party or having hundreds of friends on social media.
Right.
It's about having even just a few meaningful relationships where you feel seen, heard, and supported. Quality over quantity.
So even introverts can benefit from, this social medicine.
Absolutely. And it's never too late to cultivate those connections. Joining a book club, volunteering,
Yeah.
taking a class, or even just striking up conversations with people you encounter.
I love that. So we've covered neuroplasticity, the feed system, taming the amygdala, boosting our mood, enhancing our memory,
Yeah.
and now this fascinating concept of social medicine. Is there anything else we can do to, rewire our brains for the better?
Let's talk about resilience and wisdom.
Resilience and wisdom. Those sound like pretty lofty goals. Can we actually rewire our brains to develop those qualities?
It might seem that way, but resilience is not a fixed trait.
Okay.
It's something we can cultivate.
So how do we build resilience?
Well, it starts with shifting your mindset. developing what's called a growth mindset.
Growth mindset.
It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence aren't fixed,
Right.
but they can be developed
I see.
through effort and learning.
So instead of seeing setbacks as failures, we can see them as opportunities to learn and grow. It's like reframing those challenges.
Exactly. That shift in perspective that can make all the difference in building resilience.
That makes sense. What about wisdom? How do we become wiser?
Wisdom is often seen as the culmination of knowledge, experience, and good judgment.
Hmm.
And while those things definitely contribute, there are also specific brain regions that are associated with wisdom,
Like what?
such as the prefrontal cortex,
Of course, the prefrontal cortex.
our brain's executive control center.
So by strengthening our prefrontal cortex, we can actually enhance our wisdom.
Yes. The prefrontal cortex, it's like the CEO of our brains, helping us to make sound decisions, regulate our emotions,
Right.
think strategically.
So what can we do to boost our prefrontal cortex? More brain games.
Well, brain games can be helpful, but one of the most effective practices is mindfulness meditation.
Mindfulness.
It's about paying attention to the present moment with acceptance and non-judgment.
Okay.
And it helps to strengthen the prefrontal cortex's ability to, regulate attention and emotions.
So by practicing mindfulness, we're actually training our brains to be more present, more focused,
Yes.
and ultimately wiser.
Precisely. And the benefits extend far beyond just wisdom. Mindfulness has also been shown to reduce stress, improve sleep quality, boost the immune system, and enhance our relationships.
This is incredible. It's amazing to think that we have the power to shape our brains in these ways.
We do.
It's not just about achieving specific goals, it's about cultivating a foundation for a richer, more fulfilling life.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And remember, it's a journey, not a destination.
Right.
There's always more to learn, more to explore,
Yeah.
and more ways to optimize these amazing brains of ours.
This deep dive into Rewire Your Brain has been, well, mind-blowing. We've covered so much. Neuroplasticity, the feed system, taming the amygdala, boosting our mood, enhancing our memory, and social medicine. I feel like I have a whole new understanding of how my brain works.
I'm glad to hear that. The most important thing is to remember that you have the power to shape your own brain and your own life. Think of your brain as a garden. What seeds of change will you plant today?
That's a beautiful thought. And a powerful reminder that we're not stuck with the brains we were born with. We can always learn and grow and rewire ourselves for the better. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive. It was amazing.
It is my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep rewiring your brains for the better. Until next time.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It would be a great source of help to maintain and develop this channel and the correlated website. This book overview was presented to you by olbooksummary.com. Are you interested in more insights into personal development books or motivational and inspirational books? Please visit olbooksummary.com and you will find a library of the most helpful self-development and human character development books overviews. See you soon with the next books overview video.